Hi, everyone. Welcome to What's Up Wednesday. I hope you all are having a great start to your day. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're watching from. My name is Rachel, and I'm on the client support team here at Early Learning Ventures. And today I'm joined by Tristan, who is our product manager here at Early Learning Ventures. So, welcome, Tristan. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Rachel, for having me on. I'm excited to cover our topic for today.
Yeah, exciting. And we are in two very different time zones too, right? I think you're 3 hours ahead of me right now.
Yep, I'm located in the Northeast now, so yep,
Yeah,
three
Eastern
hours, three
time
hours
zone.
ahead of Arizona.
Yeah, awesome. And I know we sometimes have some viewers in Hawaii, so it's still early morning for you guys. So welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us live today. If you are new here and you have not heard of Early Learning Ventures before, we are a 501c3 nonprofit based out of Colorado, and our mission is to expand access to quality and affordable childcare. I have links in the description of this video for where you can find our website to learn more about the various resources that we offer, and also where you can get a free demo of our childcare management system, Alliance Core. We also have a new food program software system called Alliance Credible, which is what Tristan is here to tell us all about today. Before we get started, I do want to share that we have an awesome opportunity right now for our existing Alliance Core users, which is a chance to win a scholarship to use the system completely free for an entire year. So to participate, you just watch these What's Up Wednesday videos and then add a comment answering our question of the week. That's either here on Facebook or on YouTube. And each comment will earn you an entry. So we encourage you to engage every week for more chances to win. And this means you can even go back to our previous videos and watch those throughout the month of April. Those can be found on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, or on our website. And you can add a comment there as well for those extra entries. We'll be selecting somebody at random after 7 weeks. So this is an incredible opportunity. It can save you anywhere from $300 to $1,200 a year, depending on the size of your program. So I encourage you to engage with us and just answer this question. What we would like to know is what you served for snack today. So if you could let us know in the comments, whether you're watching live or you're watching the recording, what you served for snack today. And you can also add the hashtag WUW, it's kind of hard to say, What's Up Wednesday, into your comment just to make it easier for us to find that. All right, so let's get started. Tristan, do you want to start by introducing yourself and your role with us here at ELV?
Yeah, so my name's Tristan Clerihew. I am ELV's product manager. So for a while there, that was just for our Alliance Core childcare management software, and now we've introduced this new software. So essentially, my role here is really to just manage all of the different software systems and products that we offer to our provider base, and then I have a direct connection with. I work directly with our software developers to make sure everything's working well with the system. We're getting constant feedback on ways that we can improve our software. So that, because as always, we always say software is never complete. We're always working on it, and the only way we're going to get better is if we listen to feedback from users like you all watching this, because you're the ones that are the end users, utilizing this software every day. So the more information we get from you, the better we can make the system for you. And, as always, your success is our success. So we want to make sure you're successful, because that translates to us being successful as well.
Yeah, definitely. Tristan is always our go-to contact out here in the client support team when we're stumped by a question. We go straight to you.
And of course, I always work directly with client support as well, because yes, we need not just external, but internal feedback as well.
Yeah, got a good team going there. Lots of feedback from everybody. So this is really exciting because Credible is something that our team has been working really hard on, and I can't wait for all of us to learn more about it today. So do you want to introduce us to Alliance Credible? Kind of just give us an overview?
Yeah, so the Alliance Credible software itself was designed with CACFP sponsor organizations in mind, as another potential software solution for them to use and the providers underneath their sponsorship to utilize. And we've really been working on this for the better part of a year, and we've gotten various feedback from existing partners. And really what we found and what we were hearing a lot from folks not just partners, but other people that we've talked to or have provided feedback with us through various outlets, conferences, things like that. Everybody was really saying they wanted to have another option out there available for a software solution, because a lot of the existing options that are out there, not that they don't work, but a lot of providers and their sponsors have told us that they really feel like the software companies that they work with currently, maybe they're not as responsive as they would like them to be. They don't have the support structure in place really needed to provide the necessary support for businesses in the childcare industry. And then just the cost of existing softwares that are being used by the majority of sponsor organizations is becoming prohibitively expensive. So we really wanted to come in from the nonprofit space, offer another potential solution at an affordable price, because again, we are a nonprofit. We do not care about making money. We're really focused on what I always like to say is we care about stakeholders, not shareholders. So we are always interested in making the best software possible for the people that intend to use it and the partners that we work with. So it was really just creating a new space and really just to kind of have more of a conversation around what's missing and what's needed with a CACFP software solution.
Yeah, thank you. And I know you mentioned the support, and that's feedback that we get a lot, even with Alliance Core, is that the support system that you get with using the system is a huge benefit. So you kind of touched on this a little bit already, but maybe there's more you want to add. What would you say what specific needs or challenges does Credible address for CACFP sponsors and childcare providers?
Yeah, so it's really designed. We built it with all of the USDA requirements involved when it comes to managing the CACFP program and everything tied to claims. So really, the software is supposed to help manage everything in the entire claims ecosystem for the sponsors and their providers. So everything from starting with CACFP enrollment and re-enrollment, creating meals and menus, doing all your meal tallies, handling claims, and so much more. So it's really just streamlining that whole process, hopefully simplifying it for everybody. But then again, also backing it up with our quality support that we always are a big proponent of.
Yeah, awesome. If a provider needs to make substitutions, are they able to log that right away so that their sponsor can see it? I feel like that kind of ties into streamlining.
Yeah, they can essentially at point of service for any of their meals that they're serving on any given day, they can directly enter in any meal substitutions that are needed. So for example, if you have a child that's allergic to, traditional milk, you could say, oh, they got soy milk or almond milk instead, or whatever that may be. And all of those substitutions for any daily meal for any given child are automatically made available to the sponsor so that they can effectively okay all of those substitutions, and they can see them right away. So they don't it isn't something that they have to go back to each individual provider at the end of the month when they're still in the process of trying to organize and calculate that monthly claim for any given provider.
I feel like that makes the whole meal reporting process a lot easier for the providers.
Yeah, we've already gotten really good feedback from our existing partner, who is also a sponsor in Indiana, who really helped us, build out this software. We've already gotten really good feedback from them that they're already seeing pretty extensive time savings over the course of a month in terms of what they maybe previously had to do on paper versus what they can do now in a software.
Exciting. Yeah. So we have people testing the system right now in real time and providing feedback on their usage of it. That's great.
Yes.
Is Credible for anybody who is a CACFP participant, or would they need to go through their sponsor in order to use the system? Can you kind of tell us how that works?
Yeah, so ideally they would go through if if they're working with an existing sponsor, well, and also any family child care home, if they're participating in the food program, they have to go through a sponsor organization. So in that sense, yes, they would have to go through their sponsor. If they would like their sponsor to look into a different software than they're currently using, then yes, everything really should come through the sponsor, because the individual providers are not, unless it's a center that's acting as their own sponsor, then the individual provider cannot make a decision on a software choice, because that has to go through their sponsor organization. So, I mean, technically it could be for all providers, but they would have to obviously clear it with their sponsor, and then the sponsor organization, they have to be the ones that make the choice on what software they're going to use.
Okay, yeah, because we've gotten some questions from centers in Colorado who are currently using Alliance Core and just wanting to know more about Credible. Can you shed some light on how this would work for a center who doesn't have a food program sponsor?
Yeah, so essentially how it would work is they could utilize our Credible software to help with all of the really kind of the finer details, because we do have a CACFP component or function within our Alliance Core Child Care Management software, but it is not as strict or as detailed along the lines of what those USDA requirements are when it comes to the food program, which all of those are they really have to be followed, to the T, because one of the biggest concerns that a lot of providers have when it comes to participating in the food program itself is they're terrified of getting an audit from the USDA themselves. The concern is always, oh, well, what if I get all this money reimbursed to me through the food program, but then I have to pay that back later if I make a mistake or something like that. So to that end, we're really trying to, again, simplify the process, have everything really be front facing. So any potential questions can be answered far in advance of that final monthly claim being submitted and then uploaded by the sponsor to their state.
Okay, so Credible kind of takes some of that guesswork out of it for you, is going to flag and right away let you know what's available, what your options are.
Yes, we have various system validation points in this built into the software, and what I mean by that is if a provider is in the process of building a meal, building a weekly menu, anything like that, if they miss any component that is needed to be in any of those meals or menus, or if they have too many of one particular food item in that weekly menu, the system will automatically flag it for them. So before they even save that, they get notified in a detailed way of what they need to adjust with their existing meals, existing menus.
Okay, that's really nice. Yeah, it takes a lot of that stress out of it for you. If a childcare provider would like their sponsor to get more information about signing up with Credible, where can we direct them? And would this be the same process for both a FCCH or a center?
Yes, I mean, it would be, I suppose it would be potentially a little more simplified for a center acting as their own sponsor, because they can obviously make that software decision for themselves. But in terms of anybody looking for more information or wanting to see a more comprehensive demo of the software itself, they could either reach out to myself, which I'm sure will provide contact information, or they can just reach out to our general memberships at earlylearningventures.org. I'm pretty sure that's the email. So they can either reach out to the general memberships email, me directly, and then they can also always find additional information on it within, and sign up for a demo from our website as well.
Okay, great. Yeah, and I do have your contact information as well as our client support email in the description of this video. So you're more than welcome to reach out to either of those emails, and we'll point you in the right spot or be able to help you through there. So we have a question from Autumn. She is wondering, is Credible a separate software or is it integrated with Alliance Core? And that's kind of what I was going to get at next too, is can you kind of tell us about that integration?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. So it's kind of is kind of a yes to both of these questions, because it is a separate software. But if the individual provider that is using Credible through their sponsor, if they are already using Core, Alliance Core, or vice versa, if they start using Credible and then want to use Alliance Core, there is an integration that we have built in that can be set up pretty seamlessly, in terms of the provider just needs to pull an individual integration key from within Core, and then they just copy that into the Alliance Credible system, and then that immediately sets up the daily integration. And they also have the ability to push it manually, but with just the click of a button, if they want to update information sooner than waiting until the end of the day. And then that integration effectively pulls over from Core into Credible. It pulls over all of their enrollment information, rooms, attendance, meal counts, schedules, and then all that information gets, pulled in over. So if they're using both systems, once they have everything set up accordingly in Alliance Credible, they can effectively use Alliance Core if they're comfortable using that already to do their meal counts and everything. They can use that as their system of record, because all those daily meal tallies and attendance records will automatically transfer over to the Alliance Credible software, and then all of that will be accounted for accordingly within their claims. So all those meal counts get automatically calculated for each individual provider as well as their sponsor, and they can see all that information in real time at any given time of the month. They don't have to wait until they submit their claim or the end of the month. They can constantly be looking at that to make sure that everything is updating accordingly, or if they see any errors, they can adjust those immediately, as opposed to waiting until they submit their claim and then their sponsor gets back to them and it's like, oh, you messed up, these certain things, or these days need to be looked at and reviewed and adjusted. So again, just having that front facing just simplifies a lot of things. So yes, it's a separate software, but it's also integrated with Alliance Core. So we kept all that in mind when we were setting this up.
Awesome. Yeah, and that takes a lot of the guesswork out of it for you too, right? Essentially just to make sure that providers are getting reimbursed as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I mean, all those data validation points that we have within Alliance Credible, it removes the potential need for the sponsor to even go back and being like, well, all of these meals, they're technically disallowed because of XYZ. The provider knows that right away, and they can make the changes right away. So it removes a lot of the need for back and forth between the providers and their sponsor. And there are communication tools within the system as well that makes it easy for the sponsor and their providers to communicate together. So one thing we also noticed with existing software that was out there, it was a lot of the sponsor just dictating to the providers, like, you have to do it this way, or they would just kind of be messaging back with their providers like what they needed to fix with their claim. So this just removes a lot of that. Again, it removes a lot of that guesswork, saves time, which therefore saves money. And it's a much smoother process for the providers. They don't have to grimace like as they're submitting their claim, because they know, based off of with everything set up in the system, they know that that what they're submitting to get reimbursed for, more than likely everything that they have in there is reimbursable, because based off of what the system has assisted them with in all the setup process and counting meals and everything like that.
Yeah, I love that. Everything is there and you're seeing it in real time, and that's awesome. What steps are we taking to ensure that the Credible software is compliant with the CACFP regulations?
Yeah, so we continue to monitor everything from the USDA, any new requirements, restrictions, guidelines, anything new that comes out. We make sure we're keeping tabs on those and getting everything updated accordingly. At the same time, we know that a lot of times the best feedback we're going to get is going to be from the individuals that are using the software. And we also recognize that depending on where the providers and their sponsor are located, depending on what state they're located, there are going to be, little customizations that are needed here and there to get things adjusted accordingly for that specific state. So the more states we work with on this software, the greater the feedback we're going to get, and the more we can adjust the software accordingly for each specific state that we have a sponsor organization that we're working with in the system.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of us doing our due diligence tied to all the USDA requirements and getting continuous feedback from the people that are using the software.
Do you have any feedback from those who are currently testing Credible that you can share with us?
Yeah, so one of the providers with the Indiana group, who is also a sponsor that we're working with, she has just been like head over heels, loves the software. She's already told us she said it probably saves her like hours at least, like each week, in terms of everything that she's doing, because before so many things were tracked on paper, and then you have to cross-reference all of your meal counts with attendance, and this just saves a lot of time because everything is just right in front of them. And then they also like the communication points that are available between the provider and their sponsor. So it's instead of necessarily, instead of it feeling like the providers are just doing everything that the sponsor tells them to do, it feels like much more of a mutual back and forth, and there's having that kind of mutual communication and easily having regular touch points also makes them feel more supported by their sponsor even, let alone the support that we offer as well for anybody using the software.
Yeah, and that's great too, because they're seeing what their sponsor is seeing in the system, right? And being able to communicate back and forth all right there in one place. That's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any thoughts or plans that you can share with us on what's to come with Credible here in the near future?
Yeah, so really I'll just go back to getting that constant feedback from anybody, not just people that are using the software, but anyone interested in using the software. We will take feedback from anyone around any aspect of the software. If you are a sponsor organization out there or a provider working with a sponsor out there, and you don't like the current software you're using for whatever reason, we want to hear why. We want to hear how we can make our software better, and put in those. So essentially, we're going to continue to have anything that is 100% a functional need of the software that will always be maintained and updated accordingly. What we're really getting into now is a lot more of the nice to have features and functions that people would like to see. So we don't want to stop at just the bare minimum. We want to hear about all these things that will make the sponsor and their providers' lives easier. And again, just like any other software, like I said before, it's never complete. We're always looking for feedback, and it's always going to be getting worked on in one way or another. So one thing I will say that is coming, one exciting piece that's coming down the road is we're going to be working on implementing a Spanish version, a Spanish translated version of the Credible software, similar to what we have with Alliance Core. So, and we've already gotten a lot of feedback from folks that that's something that would really be needed.
Yeah.
And it's not just dependent on location, because I mean, I think everyone's well aware of how much like Spanish has really just become kind of a second language in the US in general. So at this point, it's one of those things like if a software provider is not doing that or offering that as a functionality of the system, then they're already, behind the ball, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. That's very important to promote that language equity.
Yeah, so we really want, it's almost not that we don't have things that we know we want to work on with the software, but it's really a lot of that can be partner driven, provider driven, sponsor driven, because again, you're the ones using the software. We want to make sure it's working the best for you. Because if it's not working for you, then we're not doing our job. So we want to make sure we're doing our job and getting all these features and functions that you'd like to see in the system. We want to make sure we get those in there as much as possible and as quickly as possible.
Yeah, definitely. And that's kind of what we're doing right now, right? As we have the groups that are testing the system and providing that real-time feedback and making adjustments as we go.
Yep, we have our existing partner in Indiana. We're going to be working with our partner in Massachusetts next, and then shortly after that, it will be our partner in Hawaii. And we hope a lot more states and sponsors will come on board with us. We were just at the national CACFP conference last week in Orlando, so that was effectively our coming out party, if you will, with this new software and being able to market it to the masses. So we are starting to get feedback from some folks that attended the conference and we spoke with, and they saw our presentation. So we fully expect we'll continue to get really good feedback from folks and additional interest as we move forward.
Exciting. Yeah, that kind of feels like a homework assignment for everyone watching, right?
Yeah, I mean, I always tell people, like you're the customer, don't be shy about expressing what your needs or interests are with any software. Even if you're not working with us, whoever your existing software provider is, you're allowed to ask for things. So don't be shy. Give us as much feedback as possible, because again, that's the only way we're going to make the system better.
Yeah, you can share that with us. Hey, I really wish the system I was currently using did this. We'd love to hear that.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Tristan. This was a lot of information. Like I said, I have your contact information in the description of this video, as well as our client support contact information. So for anyone watching, if you have any follow-up questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'd be happy to help. And do you have any final thoughts to share with us or anything else?
No, I don't think so. No, yeah. Thanks, Rachel, for the opportunity having me on here to talk more about this. And yeah, hopefully we get some good feedback, and anyone that wasn't able to join live can check out the video at a later time. And if you're interested, just reach out. If it's just a simple question you want to ask or questions, go for it. If you want to sign up to schedule a demo, do that as well, and we'll get your questions answered or demos scheduled with you all as soon as possible.
And today's really exciting. Today is Tristan's birthday, so I really appreciate you taking time to spend time with us here live, and wish you a happy birthday. So thank you to everyone watching, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time.
Awesome.
Bye.
Thank you, Rachel. Appreciate it.